So, we both saw movies this week. I was supposed to see another movie that I didn't see. So I scrambled last night and Chris basically just suggested a different movie.
It's just the one that won the Academy Award.
Yes. So I was supposed to go see, well, I guess the Oscars were last night as of
Mm-hmm.
this recording. And so I was supposed to go see The Shape of Water. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Apparently it did well
Yep.
at the Oscars. I have no idea what happened there.
Not
I always
my-
forget
not my
that
bag of
even
fish.
happening. So, not a good show?
Not my thing.
Not your thing? Yeah, so I guess it was a good movie. Didn't go see it, so there's some news. But you did see a movie.
I saw Black Panther.
Yes. And you think it rates fairly highly as far
I
as...
found it pretty high up in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
What would you rate as the top for Marvel movies? Put different categories
Probably
if you
Thor
want.
Ragnarok's pretty close to the top.
That's definitely
That
my
one
top.
was hilarious and just really well done.
Yeah.
And also the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, both of them.
Yeah. I wasn't crazy about the second one. Especially compared to the first one.
Well, the first one was new. The second one was different, but I didn't mind it.
There were parts. I guess it was just it felt smaller, I suppose. Like they were dealing with their own little isolated problem. And for some reason I guess the first one was like that too, but it felt like it stood on its own a little better. I don't know. Maybe knowing they'll go into the Avengers stuff tainted my opinion of it a little bit.
Possibly.
I didn't feel like it was moving in that direction so much.
I also really like Winter Soldier. So it probably slots in around Winter Soldier level.
Okay. So like third,
Third, fourth, fifth,
third, fourth, fifth,
somewhere
top
in there.
five.
Yeah.
Yeah, top five is always a wash. It can change day to day. I think Thor is definitely my favorite, mostly because it's funny. I think
Yeah.
that's what I like in my superhero movies is a lot of humor and kind of making fun of itself in a lot of ways.
I'd still probably put the original Iron Man up there somewhere too, just because it was hilarious.
Yeah,
and
that's
it was
true. That was a really good one as
the
well.
original that started it all.
Yeah, I should go back and watch that. It's been probably 6 years, if not longer. When did that come out?
Oh, I don't even remember.
It's been going a long time now, this little universe they've created. So Black Panther, though, not funny? Or was it...
It had a lighter comedy to it. It wasn't as over the head bang you.
Not,
Just
not
here's
as
here's a laugh,
slapsticky?
here's a laugh, here's a laugh. It was interspersed with the action and the visuals.
The usual Marvel kind of stuff.
Yeah, but it was better, less corny, I guess. Most of the
Okay.
gags.
Yeah.
I liked it. It worked with the way the movie was. Most thing I liked about the movie was the visuals. Just they did a really good job with set design and tying that in with their CGI.
Yeah, I was watching some of the behind the scenes stuff with it. It's funny to see how movies look so lame in the behind the scenes when they're like doing action stuff, but then they make obviously really cool looking stuff out of it
Yeah,
in the
they-
end.
A lot of money in CGI in the Marvel movies.
Yeah. Yeah, even like I guess every single suit basically has a
Pretty
CGI
much.
layer over top of it because they all just look so damn good and glistening in the end. They just can't do that in a on camera kind of thing.
There is one that I noticed where there's a snow scene and they're kind of pushing snow around because you can't really cover a person in snow and leave them there while you're shooting because of how cold it is.
Right.
They CGI'd it. It looked kind of
CGI'd
off.
the snow, huh? Never
Yeah.
even
It was really they put a lot of effort into it. You could tell, but
yeah.
it didn't look quite right.
Yeah, it's interesting. I never really thought of that with snow and the multiple shot. Well, I figured you'd be cold, but if you had to actually like be in the snow, which actually brings us to the other movie we saw. Just watched last night. Watched Wind River, which isn't usually my type of movie because it's just about normal people doing normal things. But it was pretty compelling, and it was actually alarming. We'll go into full spoilers with this one if you haven't seen it and you don't want to be ruined about it. I guess skip ahead. I'll put time codes in the description. You can jump. If this is on a podcast, though, and this is audio only, I don't know, hit the 15-second button a lot, because we'll talk about it for a few minutes. But I was surprised at how quickly it ended when it got to the end.
Yeah.
And I don't think the only reason I was surprised was that I'm so used to watching TV and watching movies that just keep going with sequels and stuff,
Yeah.
that it's like, oh, this story wraps up. It was almost alarming that it would happen that way. But it was a pretty action-packed ending.
Pretty action-packed, pretty depressing.
Yeah, definitely
kind of movie.
depressing. But it really, I don't know, I guess it's good to be reminded now and then that normal people
what
do
the situation
do
is like.
extraordinary things. It's not always superheroes and laser swords.
Yes.
Which is pretty much all I watch these days.
Star Wars and Marvel movies.
Pretty much. That and like just other generic sci-fi. Which actually I could bring up. Been watching Altered Carbon. That's a show that I keep popping on now and then. Very slowly getting through it. It's a Netflix show. It's that one with you saw a bit of it, the body swapping.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty good show. I'm looking forward to wrapping that up. I think I have 4 more episodes in that. I would recommend it. Although you really got to pay attention. There's a lot of just like terms that you're like, what the hell are they talking about? And you kind of have to either re-remember or look up what they mean when they say certain things. And other than that, as far as watching things this week, did you watch anything else as far as movies?
Not that I can recall. Nothing worth mentioning, I guess.
We both watched Rebels last week, Star Wars Rebels, which got pretty crazy when, spoilers again, if you haven't seen Rebels and you don't want things ruined, when Ezra went into that, they call it the world between worlds or whatever, with the space and
Yeah,
changed
the
a lot
connection
of people,
or whatever it is.
It's funny how like a lot of people they never wanted time travel type stuff in Star Wars, but they're okay with what happened there. And it kind of it doesn't really break anything because you didn't see what happened to Ahsoka. You didn't watch, I guess, the other.
No, I'd seen that
of it.
section though.
Yeah, and so like you don't see that finality of that fight between her and Vader.
Yeah.
And so he didn't necessarily change the past. That just was what happened in the past, and
it does open up the whole time paradox. Things that they generally try to avoid.
It could be a cool thing of that's how it's almost like an explanation or like a visual representation of like how Rey and Kylo got connected in the Force, or how people talk to each other through the Force in general. Maybe it's like they're in the bridge kind of thing, or whatever it is. They're in the world between worlds is a good way to describe it. Like maybe that's the bridge world, kind of where all these things are connecting, which is an interesting concept.
Kind of wondering what they're going to do with Ahsoka moving forward now.
Yeah, we've got 2 episodes.
Mind you, I guess by the time this comes out,
I don't think she's even going to be in them.
No,
honestly,
they're just going to leave it.
She was in the Clone Wars, and now she's in this, and all of these were created and run by Dave Filoni at Lucasfilm.
Yeah,
and he's obviously it's not obvious, but he's probably going to have another animated series because Rebels wraps up tonight. So people are kind of thinking it's going to be between episodes 6 and 7, and maybe it'll start once episode 9 is done, because there's the 30 years in there to try to, lots of stories to tell in there. And Ahsoka might come back then, but then it's like, well, where was she the entire original trilogy? But you could say the same thing about a lot of it. She abandoned the Jedi Order because they kind of abandoned her, and it's kind of okay for her to be removed from all of it and come back randomly.
Yeah, she's just a outside figure.
Yeah, I wouldn't be upset about it. A lot of people get really annoyed that a character is just left hanging. You're like, well, where was she all this time? It's like, it's a big galaxy. People can go off and do different things, and I don't have a problem with that. I mean, we don't know what Luke did for 30 years. We expect to find out. It's like, yeah, we can find out what happened to Ahsoka in that time, too.
Drank milk from weird sea creatures.
Exactly. I mean, probably not the whole time, but did a little bit of it at least. So I'm looking forward to watching that Rebels, and I'm probably going to try to find it as soon as we're done here. Maybe watch it tonight. Probably. I'll probably be too excited not to.